Good morning. Happy Friday to one and all. My name is Rachel Allen, and I am an integrative lifestyle coach. And what that looks like and means to me is that I get to work with individuals, not just mentally, physically, also spiritually. My longest passion has been working as, I like to kind of describe it as a seamstress, if you will, reconnecting, assisting others in, or I'm going to say, facilitating others in reconnecting to their source, their greater source. And that's been my passion and my purpose for over 20 years. And beyond that, I've moved into the physical in terms of training and coaching, and I get to do it all, which is always fun. So this morning I had the opportunity, the time to make the next video. Somebody had watched the last video and suggested the topic of mindfulness. And mindfulness is a huge umbrella, correct? We can go as far back as we talk about yoga, yogis, in terms of being present to the breath and the movement of the body. We can go as far forward as being in a grocery store and just being in the moment, so that if somebody walks in front of you with more items than what you anticipated, there's not, or somebody is in front of you with more items than anticipated, you're not in that sense of rush or hurriedness. There's a lot of practices around just coming back to breath, which is a beautiful opportunity to reconnect with self. And decades ago, I heard a speaker talk about how there was a gentleman who was sharing that as his wife was getting ready for date night, if you will, she always seemed to take a lot longer. And then all of a sudden it dawned on him that he could be meditating while he's waiting. And I thought, how beautiful that is. And that was in my married days, so I appreciated that. That sense of hurry or anticipation or wanting to get somewhere, it can really offset the energy of an experience, if you will. I'm going to talk about how mindfulness is related to my life and why I do the work I do, because I feel like I fell into this passion and this purpose through my own discomfort, which is how a lot of people who truly serve find their life purpose. And mine started, I'm going to say, it was funny, I had a conversation with my mother the other day, and she's a boomer, so we talked about the age of secrecy and the generation that she grew up in. And I'm an X generation, and that X generation, we grew up as latchkey kids, and couple that together with disorder, right? So I think I've described, I grew up in an alcoholic home. God bless my father, and all of the adventures that unfold in those households, which is a lot of discomfort, right? So I'm not going to go into the gory details, but it was a lot of discomfort. And so I was prone to, being a hypersensitive child, anxiety and depression. And so from the time I was about, I'm going to say little, I remember having one of my very first panic attacks. I couldn't swallow. And so over time, with not addressing or finding the correct coping mechanisms, because of course that goes undiscussed, in my mid to late teens, I had my very first panic attack as I was driving in a vehicle. And as I was driving in the vehicle, the panic attack literally veered me off the road, and somebody had to come and get me, and that was my mom. And so I was under therapist care, and I don't remember what for. I was seeing a therapist at that time, but I would do therapy from time to time in stints after my father passed away when I was 13. So over the course of, I think, trying to heal some of that, because I was I was busy acting out, if you will. I found the joys at that time of alcohol and other things to do. And so when I had my first panic attack, immediately I went, okay, it was attached to a song, it was attached to certain things. So unfortunately, what I began to do is relate that panic attack to certain behaviors or certain experiences. And over time, my life got much smaller. There was a point in my life where I couldn't drive, and I mean literally could not drive. I told myself that I could not drive out of fear of having a panic attack. And then I stopped going to the grocery store because of fear of having a panic attack. And I stopped doing life, and I'm going to consider myself, without taking somebody with me, I was basically almost like an agoraphobic. To go out in the world and do things by myself was very terrifying. And I didn't begin to have conversations with people about that until I was I think I was about 20 years old. I was dating a gentleman who talked about his symptoms and some things that he was going through. It was the first time I had a label to really having a panic attack, if you will. And I tried traditional medicine. I was put on some prescription drugs. For this body, it did not work. I'm just going to say that. And there are plenty of people out there who use anti-anxiety medications. If it works for you, great. This body, it did not. It amplified my symptoms. I felt more and more depressed. I felt, so I would go off the medications. After my son was born, I almost felt like there was, I'm going to say I was probably at the end of my rope in terms of feeling powerless over the panic, and because I'd gone back on medication again after he was born, and I had no tools, I had no way, a remedy to move through or to move beyond. And so I started seeking holistic care. I was blessed by a family member who suggested I take a look at homeopathic and naturopathic medicine, which led me to a sequence of meeting with doctors and practitioners, and they weren't traditional doctors. I'm not going to poo-poo the traditional doctor world, but I saw a naturopathic, like I said, I saw a homeopathic doctor, I saw hypnotherapist who's happens to still be here in Tucson, two of the three that I just mentioned. And if you want more information about that, feel free to private message me. But the beauty is that over the course of listening to the ways to heal or to the ways to reclaim my life, I had to go back into the experiences. And so talk about a daunting thought, right? Of putting myself right in what I called the fire. And so the practice of mindfulness became everything. And it was kind of like the trifecta of it. I had to become aware of what I was thinking, which is the practice of catching my thoughts, which I've been doing for over 20 years, learning to catch my thoughts, because I had to apply the principle that says my world or my body is feeling based on what I'm thinking. And my anxiety or my fear-based thoughts and my worry thoughts were so rapid firing, I wasn't even aware that they were happening. I had a lot of what if scenarios going on in my mind. And so the first practice was becoming aware of those and being willing to either jot them down or just set them aside. One of the other practices that came to mind when I was talking about mindfulness, when I first started driving again, I would literally sit in a vehicle, and I didn't like, of course, feeling stuck is part of it too. So long stretches of highway, being in dark or not where I'm familiar. And Tucson is laid out like there are stretches of nothingness. So there was a lot of opportunity for me to come to mindfulness. So I would sit, if I got behind a vehicle, the gift is I can look at their license plate and like out loud say the license plate numbers, describe the vehicle, describe what's surrounding me. If no vehicles were around me, I would describe what's going on around me. And the beauty is that over time, I began to defrag the multitude of phobias that I had created for myself. And I'm going to say, so the man that I was dating that was talking about his phobias or his panic attack at that time, I ended up marrying him, and my phobias and my panic disorder, it took on some really uncomfortable, I remember having to call him from telephone booth to telephone booth. This is back in the days when we had the telephone booths in Southern California. I had to literally call him from light to light to get back to where we were living. My symptoms had become so exaggerated. There was no way of making sense out of no sense. It was really my reality, and I could not see my way or think my way out of it. I had to really become right here, right now, and face and address each fear, each thought, moment by moment. So how that mindfulness has now evolved into just a way of living is I've become more and more aware of what I put into my body. I've become more and more aware of what I think in my mind. My life is literally a spiritual practice, and that's what I love the most, because I live a life of appreciation of what I've been able to outgrow. And I'm not going to say it's 100% cured, because I believe that anytime I'm evolving into newness, that unknown, like I said, it's that little voice that says, what if? But I will say, I stopped singing when I was having my panic attacks, and I'm back to stage. I'm I perform once a month, and I really have taken time to reclaim every area of my life where those phobias said, you can't do that. I travel frequently and regularly. I drive everywhere. I do a life today that is just, and I try new things all the time, because once again, I have to override still, be on high watch for that little voice that says, what if? So for me, I feel, like I said, completely blessed that that was a part of a snapshot of my experience, because what it rocketed me into is a lifestyle of conscious awareness, of knowing what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, so that I can realign and create the life that I desire. So it becomes, what do I want to be, have, do outside of the past state of being. And so I love making these videos. They're always, I always say raw and real, because I don't really know what I'm going to say. I'm also really blessed that I can have these deep conversations with my mom that help me understand what I grew up in. Because like I said, if coming from a family of secrets and all of the dysfunction, and then this creative being that is hypersensitive, making up stories and making up worst case scenarios, I really became aware I was addicted to worry. I was addicted to those old ways of seeing and thinking the world existed. And so as a creative power in a higher level of frequency, I'm able to rewrite those scripts day by day, moment by moment, and continue to capture and live the life that I know is possible. And so for this person, it's been a whole rewrite. I'm going to say that out loud. And there's a lot of my life where I'm still rewriting and still learning about greater truths and greater freedoms. So with all of this being said, however mindfulness you get to apply it today, whether it's in a grocery store, or whether it's driving and just being present to your thoughts and your feelings, whether it's how you show up to your work play, or if I didn't have this current situation, circumstance, what would I be? What would I be doing? What could I have? What could I envision? I encourage you just to play in all of those fields day by day, moment to moment, as often as you're encouraged or inspired to. With that, I'm going to let you go today. I just hope you all have a fantastic Friday and enjoy every moment of your weekends. For me, I feel like every day is a weekend, which is really kind of nice. Every day is a little different. All new people pretty much every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday where I work. Also, if you're here in the Tucson area, I'm working at Breakout Studios. I'm still teaching there, which I absolutely adore. We've added a couple morning classes on Wednesday. So check out their website, or again, message me. I also have an event coming up on Saturday, February 1st, if you're in the Tucson area. It's just a free mix, kind of a meet and greet. We're going to be going over some creative processes that we like to think about future planning, right? So we're not just going to get caught in a moment and then have to do cleanup. As much as some of that encourages and inspires change, we want to forward plan. So if you're up to planning 2020 and 2021, join us. I have several women who've already signed up, and we hope to see you there. My phone number, 520-270-0409. You can message me or call me and leave a message. That number again is 520-270-0409. Or you can email me at i.l.c, rachelallen@gmail.com. i.l.c, rachelallen@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube videos, and you'll get these all the time. Oh, once a week, I should say. And every month offers a new theme. So we're right now in the year of redemption. So how can I reclaim? How do I redeem those things in my life? Bring them back to life if that's something that I choose. And for me, I'm all about freedom. So peace and blessings. Have a free day.